Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils and snares, I have already come. 'Tis grace hath brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. Has promised good to me. His word my hope secures. He will my shield and portion be, as long as life endures. Yes, when this flesh and heart shall fail, and mortal life shall cease, I shall possess within the veil a life of joy and peace. The earth shall soon dissolve like snow, the sun forbear to shine. But God, who called me here below, will be forever mine. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to feel, and grace my fears believe.
Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. Christ the royal master leads against the foe. Forward into battle, see his banner go. Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. At the sign of triumph, Satan's host to flee. On then, Christian soldiers, on to victory. Hell's foundations quiver at the shout of praise. Brothers, lift your voices loud, your anthems raise. Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. Like a mighty army moves the church of God. Brothers, we are treading where the saints have trod. We are not divided, mighty army moves the church of God. Brothers, we are treading where the saints have trod. We are not divided, all one body we, one in hope and doctrine, one in charity. Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before.
On this beautiful Tuesday, November 12th, can you believe here we are, almost halfway through the month of November. Insane. And a lot of my posts, I had just posted to all the different groups that we have posted to and all. And now I got to post, let's try again. Hopefully they'll find us. Hopefully they'll find us and be able to watch anybody that cares to do so. And if you're watching, we are going to be talking today about our good shepherd and our life abundant. Go check out the other video. It was only a few minutes long, but we talked about this upcoming Mike Tyson fight a little bit, just because I'm really looking forward to it. But I want to get into we got to get into the radio show now and do the whole that whole thing. So let's get that started. That was Disciple. God is with us here on GodsLoveLive.com with Chuckles. This beautiful afternoon, I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're enjoying the music. We had Jim Reeves just before that. We had Todd Delaney and Meredith Andrews earlier. It's funny, it's the only place you can hear stuff like Jim Reeves and then right after hear Disciple, which is just kind of a contrast when it comes to music, right? But I like them all. We're going to talk today, and I'm going to give you a chance to bring it up here. We're going to talk about the Good Shepherd and his sheep. We're going to talk about our Good Shepherd and the life abundant that he offers us. We're going to be reading from John 10, concentrating on verse 10 and 11, I think. Well, mostly verse 10. And even really the back half of verse 10, which I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. That's what we're going to be focusing on today. So I'll give you a chance to bring it up. I'll thank you for joining us. I hope you're ready, and I hope we're all. You know what? Let's take my hat off. Let's pray. Lord, thank you for all of the blessings that you've given us. So many things that you've blessed us with. We ask that you open our hearts and our minds, prepare us to take in this message, whatever it is that you have declared we should learn from it. Help us to see better your heart in these things, to understand what it is to be a better disciple of you, to submit and give you all the glory and honor, God. Help us to be the images of you we are meant to be. In Jesus' name, amen. And it's odd on a Tuesday for me to be wearing my out of office hat. I couldn't find the other one this morning, so I was just like, okay. And let's see, where are we at? Oh, I'm gonna get you back to a little bit of music, and we will be back in the next break. We'll read from John chapter 10, so stick around. Keith Green coming right up.
Mom, when's pizza night?
Every night is pizza night with Brothers Pizza and Osceola Mills.
Life is beautiful. Ren Collective here on GodsLoveLive.com with Chuckles in the afternoon. And like I said, we're going to start out by reading. We're going to read chapter 10, verses 1 through probably at least 18. No, we'll probably read all the way down through, literally to the point where they were calling Jesus a demon-possessed, raving madman. In verse 20. Very truly, we're going to start with verse 1. We'll read through 1 through 7, 1 through 6. No, we'll read like 1 through 13 or 14 here, and then we'll read the rest in the next break. So right now, we'll start with verse 1, read through at least 13 here. Very truly, I tell you, Pharisees, anyone who does not enter the sheep pen by the gate, but climbs in by some other way, is a thief and a robber. The one who enters by the gate is the shepherd of the sheep. The gatekeeper opens the gate for him, and the sheep listen to him, to his voice. He calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. When he has brought out all his own, he goes on ahead of them, and his sheep follow him because they know his voice. But they will never follow a stranger. In fact, they will run away from him because they do not recognize a stranger's voice. Jesus is using this figure of speech, but the Pharisees did not understand what he was telling them. Therefore, he said again, very truly, I tell you, I am the gate for the sheep. All who have come before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep have not listened to them. I am the gate. Whoever enters through me will be saved. They come in and go out and find pasture. The thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. I have come that they may have life, and life to the full. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for his sheep. The hired hand is not the shepherd and does not own the sheep. When he sees the wolf coming, he abandons the sheep, running away. And the wolf attacks, and the flock scatters. The man runs away because he is a hired hand and cares nothing for the sheep. Have you ever had that experience? Somebody who you thought was, maybe you put a little too much trust or stock into a person rather than into the person of Jesus Christ, who is our shepherd, and they let you down. They scattered, or they took off when the wolves came. The wolves come and they're taken off because, it's tough. It's a lot. I don't want to make anybody angry. I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to lose friends. That's the hired hand. The hired hand will take off at the first sign of trouble because he's not, listen, I ain't getting paid enough for this, right? Well, what are we getting paid? Well, this life that's abundant. To serve the shepherd, to recognize his voice, to always follow his voice. Our reward is that we get life, that they may have life and have it to the full, abundantly. The next break, we'll read the rest, and then in the 1 o'clock hour, we're going to talk about abundance. The truth of abundance, what that really means in our world. Right now, it's Hard Under Pressure coming up. And now from Jeff Woodward. I want to talk about this abundance, this idea of abundance, because it's very important that we recognize the true meaning of this abundance that he speaks of, which is why we're going to bring it up. We're going to look at it in several other translations. Because if you go through the translations, in the NIV, of course, it says, and have it to the full. In a lot of other one, the NLT, my purpose is to give them a rich and satisfying life. Not a fan of that one. The rest of them are a lot about abundance. Abundance, abundantly. I do like the Amplified Bible. It says, and have it in abundance to the full until overflowing. Ooh, until overflowing. Your life is going to overflow. That kind of like, I kind of look at that and I think, yeah. That's where I'm at. I've had discussions with people where they were like, man, you know, every time we talk, we always end up back here. My wife and I started a new study. We actually started Thursday and Friday of last week, but we read the introduction to the study Thursday and Friday of last week. We kind of talked about and worked through it over the weekend, and then we started together last night. Now, this study is a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday thing. And it has very specific things to read and actions and stuff. Well, not actions, not so much actions, but a little bit. Pray this. And it has questions and whatever. So my wife and I, what we've been doing is, I'm up early in the morning, so I do the early morning reading. So I read and I check it out and I go through it. And then when she gets up and moving around later on in the day, she'll take it and she'll read it. Or like yesterday, she'll forget and end up doing it right when we're getting ready to go to bed. And then afterwards, her and I were talking about it. As we were talking about it, not only so we're looking at this as an individual. Well, there's two of you, yes, but we've become one, right? We are commanded scripturally we become one. A man shall leave his family and find a wife, becoming one flesh. That's what marriage is. We become unified in a way that, and if you can do it, if you can really make it happen, it really does mirror the unity that Christ is calling for in his talking about unity. The unity that he has with the Father, becoming of one mind. Becoming of one mind, understanding that we want one goal, that we're moving towards one specific thing. Ours being, we want to be better disciples of our Messiah, Christ Jesus. And this abundance, and this is what we're going to talk about in the 1 o'clock hour, so I'm going to tell you, stick around because this is going to get interesting. This abundance isn't an abundance of stuff. That's why I don't like which one was it? NLT's version here where it says to give them a rich and satisfying life. And the reason being is when you hear that, rich and satisfying, well, satisfying, by whose standards are we satisfied? Because again, this is like the peace that passes all understanding. I have an abundance. I think I have $5 to my name right now. We are constantly waiting for this, that, or the other thing so we can take care of the things we need to take care of. Financially, we certainly are not living in abundance. I'm more abundantly living that way a few years back before I started this ministry. So we're not living in that way in abundance. I'm not saying it's evil if you've found a way to live in that way and to serve the Lord truly. I'm not getting down, although a little bit, but not getting down, because if you are in that position where you have an abundance, you should be sharing literally everything. Okay? So here's the thing. I heard somebody speaking the other day, and he did a really great message, and as he was giving the message, he was speaking about sharing and giving to people that need, and he said you should give in abundance. He said you should give in abundance. He was trying to say you should abundantly give, I think. I'm kind of, because I don't put, mistake.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I was lost, but now am found, was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils and snares, I have already come. 'Tis grace hath brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. The Lord has promised good to me. His word my hope secures. He will my shield and portion be as long as life endures. Yes, when this flesh and heart shall fail and mortal life shall cease, I shall possess within the veil a life of joy and peace. The earth shall soon dissolve like snow, the sun forbear to shine. But God, who called me here below, will be forever mine. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to feel, and grace my fears believe. Through many dangers, toils and snares, I have already come. 'Tis grace have brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home.
Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. Christ the royal master leads against the foe. Forward into battle, see his banner go. Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. At the sign of triumph, Satan's host to flee. On then, Christian soldiers, on to victory. Hell's foundations quiver at the shout of praise. Brothers, lift your voices loud, your anthems raise. Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. Like a mighty army moves the church of God. Brothers, we are treading where the saints have trod. We are not divided, all one body we, one in hope and doctrine, one in saints have trod. We are not divided, all one body we, one in hope and doctrine, one in charity. Onward Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. Onward then, ye people, join our happy throng. Blend with ours your voices in the triumph song. Glory, law, and honor unto Christ the King. This through countless ages, men and angels sing. Onward Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before.
Onward, Christian soldiers. Let's get that camera up. There we go. Hello. Good afternoon. It's a beautiful day. This day the Lord has made. Will you rejoice and be glad in it with me? So the title and subject of the video for today is, what is there to be thankful for in my life? And I thought I better start off with, what a beautiful day, so that everybody understands. This is not, you're not going to hear what you think. You're going to read that title. If you read that title and you were like, I'm going to watch, because Chuckles might go completely off the rails today. That's probably true, because normally I do kind of go off the rails just about every day, according to my wife. But also, it's not a statement. It's not a question, a negative question to ask, what is there to be thankful in my life for? What is there in my life for me to be thankful for? I want to ask that question and discuss that question today, and some other stuff. But a big part of it is I want to discuss that question, ask that question, and let's talk about it for real. For real. This isn't the Thanksgiving's coming up. And I love Thanksgiving. It's a wonderful holiday. I gripe to my wife every year about how crazy she goes overboard. She is right now, as we speak, at my house in the kitchen, her and Letitia, making food for this big pile of people we've invited to our tiny little home. We don't know how we're going to fit them all in, to be honest. But we are going to fit them all in. But we're going to get into all of that here in just a minute. I got to do the last break for the 2 o'clock hour first. First Christmas song of the year, sort of. This song's been playing all year long on the radio, but it is officially playing. Christmas music starts on Friday, I think, if I have it ready in time. And if you'd like to hear more Christmas music, I want to hear requests. That was Little Drummer Boy. Even though it's been playing all year long, can I call that technically the first Christmas song of the year? We're only 2 days away from Thanksgiving, and we are going to be discussing today the title of the video/audio program for the last hour of the day today. What do I have in my life? Wait, let me bring this up so I can read it. What is there to be thankful for in my life? And I was just explaining at the very beginning of the video here, as I'm remembering that I didn't start the recording, so I'll start that. But I was just explaining at the beginning of the video here, in the first couple of minutes, I was explaining that you might see that title and think, oh, here we go. He's going to go off the rails, which would not be specifically wrong, because oftentimes I do go off the rails no matter what, at least if you're applying human wisdom and logic to it. But it is not what you might think. It is not meant to be a negative title. It is not meant to be a negative thing that we are discussing. We are going to discuss truly what there is to be thankful for in our lives. And I'm not going to come up with the same old things. All of these things are absolutely valid. You know, most people, you know, what happens? You sit down on Thanksgiving, and what are we thankful for? Well, we're thankful for our family, and that we're able to get together and eat today, and that we have a roof over our head, and the kids are thankful that there's a couple of days off of school, and all of those are good things to be thankful for. All of those are great things to have in your life. I'm not about to poo-poo all over that. I'm saying let's talk about real gratitude. For instance, I am grateful today, this day, that I woke up. I am grateful that God has given me the ability to speak here in this forum. And hopefully some of you are listening and getting something out of it. I am grateful that our car, that we finally we surrendered our car to the finance company for repossession. We've decided that we are no longer going to keep it because it's been too much of a drain on us. And we've decided that what we're going to do is we're going to try to find something that we can get that's reasonable and we won't have to make any more payments on, because our car's worth less than we owe for it, which is what happens to most people. Unless, of course, you let it go through auction and they sell it, then it's worth way more than we owe, but we'll still end up owing them way more than it's just a whole thing. It's garbage, and we're tired of it. You know, it needs some repairs. It's an older car. It's got 215 or 18,000 miles on it. And we were finally like, you know what? Instead of continually stressing over this payment, let's do something else. I'm thankful that God moved us into a place to do that. It may turn out to be a blessing, a great blessing in disguise, or somewhat in disguise. And we're going to talk about some other things like that coming up here in just a few minutes. But first, back to the music. It's Disciple with Radical coming right up. Till the day I die, I'll be a radical here on God'sLoveLive.com with Chuckles in the afternoon. What a beautiful afternoon. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're enjoying the music, staying safe, happy, healthy, and, of course, physically comfortable out there. Again, I always wish for your physical comfort, if not your emotional, spiritual comfort. I don't wish for that. I not wish for, but pray for. I pray for somebody to be convicted in what we're discussing, whether it's me, whether it's you. I pray that God's will be done in this discussion that we have each and every day, that you will that I will learn something, that people who hear it will gain something out of it, even if it's something that doesn't make a whole lot of sense now. Maybe later you look back and go, oh, I see. I've done that. I've looked back at things that I've said on here and been like, I can't believe I said that. But we're going to get deep into thankful gratitude and grateful living in kingdom life, what that means, being grateful, how that sets us up for the kingdom life, how that creates a situation of us wanting to make sure that we can recognize what we're living in this kingdom life, and why, number one, why we should be grateful. Number two, how we should be grateful. Because being grateful, being thankful, having a grateful heart, a thankful heart, those are great things. But live a grateful lifestyle. I told my wife today, I said this is something that we don't really get 100% yet, my wife and I. We're working on it. We're trying to do better. We're working together. She has a hard time sometimes staying positive. Just being grateful for knowing that God is going to get us to tomorrow. Like, here's the thing. We talk about what we're grateful for. I'm grateful for this, and I'm grateful for my abundance, and I'm grateful that I have a good job, and I'm thankful. We spend, Thanksgiving, that's what it's all about. What all are we thankful for? I'm thankful that I get to be a new creation servant of my Savior and his Father, our Father in heaven. I'm grateful, I'm thankful that I get to be a co-heir, meaning not just we talk about co-heir like we get to be this. I'm thankful that being a co-heir means I'm also responsible for helping to bring the message, the gospel good news of Messiah to anyone who will listen and some people who won't. One of the greatest gifts God ever gave us was the ability to share his gospel. Starting with the very early apostles and disciples, they were given not just the ability, but the responsibility, the charge to go share this. And that is a blessing to them and a blessing to us. And we should be grateful and thankful that we get to be a part of this new creation that he's creating, that's coming to pass. And we should be so thankful that he also expects us to go out and share it with others. Right? What do you think? Email me, chuckles@godslovelive.com. Man, I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Oh, man. So, where are we at? What are we going to talk about? Well, I know what we're going to talk about. The question is, how are we going to talk about it? Because I've been thinking about this all day. So my wife and I went to finish turning in our car, make sure it's all cleaned out. Like I said earlier, we decided not to keep. We had a real nice Hyundai 2014 Santa Fe. Hyundai Santa Fe. It was a nice car. It's got some mechanical issues and it's got some body issues, and it's to a point where it's like they need $2,200 pretty near immediately for us to keep it. And we were kind of sitting back discussing, okay, what do we do? This is a lot, and we owe $5,000 or $6,000 on it, whatever. And she's like, well, I'd like to keep my car. And I'm like, well, I would too, but does it make the most sense? Of course, for Sue, it's, oh no, we're going to be without. For me, it's, one less thing to have to worry about, especially if we can go out. It might take a month or two. We may have to live a little different lifestyle for a little while through Christmas, through the New Year, whatever. What I'm hoping is that by then I can figure it out. I can go pick up a vehicle for a pretty decent little price that's going to run well. I bought a car one time for $100. Actually, technically, I didn't even buy it. We got a car at one time at auction, $100. Former boss, great friend, Michael, he picked it up for me because he was like, he felt like he needed to or whatever, so he did. He got it for me. It was a gift, basically. And one of the reasons he did is because they were looking to try to get a couple of $300-400 out of it, and they were talking about this big crack in the frame, and everybody was like, oh, it's going to be impossible to fix. It's going to be impossible to fix. So I knew they weren't going to get much. So Michael said about bidding on it. I said, don't bid any more than $300. He bid $100. He was the first and only bid, and we got it for $100. Everybody else had talked themselves out of it. I took it to my father-in-law and said, we need to get this frame fixed before we can get it inspected. And he said, okay. Plus, you want it to be safe. So I said, what do we do? And he said, well, let's take it out to, he's got a buddy of his out here. He said, take it out to, I forget his name, but he had a friend, and he was like, let's take it out to my friend, whoever. And I'm like, okay. And we took it, and the guy put it up, and he said, well, give me a day or two, and I'm pretty sure I can weld this up, and it'll be fine. So, no problem. We went home and living our lives, and he fixes it, and he calls me and says, okay, I got it welded up. Okay. He said, it's safe. I'm like, all right, we trust him. We trust our father-in-law, my father-in-law. So let's go for it. So we decided, yeah, okay, we trust that if you say it's safe, that it's safe. And we took it to our inspection guy, really good guy. And he said, I got to check that crack, because he knew it was there and he knew it was going to be a thing. He said, I got to check that because I want to make sure, number one, it has to be properly done for inspection. But also, we want to make sure that your family's safe in this, right? Because that's what I want. I want to know my family's safe. That makes sense. So he starts taking a look at this weld. And he comes back up out from under the car a couple minutes later, and he says, that's better than when they first put him out. This welder that we had asked to help us with this, he built a box around, he literally built a steel box around where this crack in the frame was. And according to the man who did the inspection, the box, I think he charges us like $50, seriously. I think he was like, give me $50, I'll fix it. And he did this, and he fixed it, and then we took it to our inspection guy, and our inspection guy was like, this is one of the best welds I've ever seen. It's probably better than the original, just frame hanging there, so you're good. And he put an inspection sticker on it. We drove it we paid $100 for this thing at auction, $50 to fix it. Drove it for like a year, and I sold it for $500. A year and a half or so later, I sold it for like $500. I like those kind of stories. It's nice to have that situation, and this wasn't anything where I was looking to make money. I didn't care about making a couple $100s, but we did. It was more of we need a vehicle, we need a safe vehicle, we need one that, when I went to sell it, it had an issue. It was leaking coolant, and I didn't want to deal with it because I was pretty sure it had a crack in the head. And by then we had bought I think her Explorer we bought. So we had two vehicles. I was like, well, we don't really need two vehicles. It's kind of a waste. So let's sell the car. And then I put the car up for sale, and this woman contacted me, and she's a young woman, and she says she wanted to buy the car. And I was like, well, I said, it has this, issue with the head. It literally, like, I got to stop every 150 miles and put antifreeze or water or whatever in it. And I said, it's just, it's you're not going to get very far. You're going to need to have the head fixed, da-da-da-da-da. She said, well, can I take it to my mechanic and have him take a look at it? I said, yeah, no problem. She takes it to this guy she knows, has him take a look at it. She left the money with me so that if she didn't, so just so you know, I'm going to be back and we'll do the transfer. But, if it's garbage and I don't want it, then you'll give me the money back. I'm like, yeah, no problem. If not, then I'll buy the car. I'm like, okay, that's fine. So she left. I think it was half. I don't think it was all of it. She went, had the mechanic look at it. She come back. She said, yep, he verified that it was a cracked head and that that it was going to cost, however much to fix it, da-da-da-da-da. She said, here's the thing. I'm trying to move back out to, I think it was North Dakota, where my parents live. And I'm like, oh, dear, you're going to have this fixed before you drive all that way. She said, would you talk to my dad? And I'm like, sure, I guess. So she calls up her father, and her father gets on the phone with me, and I explained to him the problem, and I said, I don't think she's going to make it. And I told him, I said, I've been dumping water in it every 150 miles or less. And he says, okay, well, if she dumps water in it and she gets even within 300 or 400 miles, I have a tow truck. If I have to, I'll go out and pick her up. And I was like, well, if you're sure, I said, I don't like that, but it's up to you. I'll sell it to you. I have not kept a thing from you. You know every problem this thing has and why I think you should probably not buy it to drive to North Dakota. Like I said, I wasn't really trying to sell it to make money. I was just, and I had listed it for like $750, and she's like, well, what if I give you $500? I'm like, absolutely. She could have offered me $100. I'd have been like, yeah, sure. She offered me like $500. I was like, yeah, no problem. Sold her the car. She went to her mechanic. She had him put whatever he put in it. It was something that was meant to help the head problem until she, just to try to get her out there to North Dakota. 6 or 8 months later, her father calls me, And he says, hey, I hope you don't mind. I have your number here from when my daughter bought this car. He said, I wanted to tell you I really appreciate the way that you handled that, telling her that this car was not, 100%. It was a lemon. He says, but I wanted you to know I'm replacing the head on that car this weekend. I was like, wow. I said, what, did it break down and you just haven't got around to it? He said, no, she drove it out here. She got it the whole way out here. She's been driving it to work and back for the last 4 months because she got a job shortly after she got here. She just dumps water in it, water or antifreeze in it twice a day. On really, really hot days out there, she dumped coolant or antifreeze in it. On really, really cold days, she dumped coolant and antifreeze in it. But when she had a day where it was like, it's really kind of a mild weather pattern, she'd take 3 or 4 days, she'd just dump water in it just to make it back and forth. And she drove this thing for 5 months. And then her father fixed the head, and I haven't talked to him for a couple of years, but the last time I spoke to him, because we kind of kept in touch, he was like, yeah, she's still driving it. It's a damn nice little vehicle. It was a little Ford Escort. It was a nice little Ford Escort. I loved it. Or was it a Taurus? Might have been a Taurus. I love that vehicle. But we didn't need it. She did. We made a few bucks. She got what she needed. It was kind of cool. Seeing that kind of thing happen was kind of awesome. I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for that kind of situation where there was an ability for everybody to get something valid, useful, and it was not an unloving thing. Like I when I told her, hey, I wasn't trying to talk her out of buying it. I was just like, hey, you need to be ready because you've got this thing that has to happen. She's like, I got it. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a whack job. No, I'm definitely a whack job. I say to Claire all the time, maybe I'm just crazy. He's like, oh no, you're definitely crazy. There's no maybe or doubt about it. You are 100% nuts. And I am. When you apply human wisdom, I am bat poo-poo crazy. But then again, aren't we all kind of? Just saying. All right, let's get back into this radio show. I'm going to tell you right now, I have no idea. Like I said, this what is there to be thankful for in my life? I came up with that as a title just because I was kind of like, well, I need a title. But it is not one of those things where I'm truly questioning. I have great many things to be thankful for. I have wonderful grandchildren. I don't live in a hut somewhere in Africa. And I'm not, getting down on people who live in a hut somewhere in Africa, but I live in a country where I am well taken care of. I am, no matter how bad things may seem, I have a pretty terrific life. And I think one of the problems that we maybe deal with in this, especially in this world that we live in, is that we don't really recognize that I have a pretty terrific life. I have struggles. I have things that I'm not happy about at the moment. Things going on in my life that make me very, not happy, I guess is about the best way I could say it. But I actually have a pretty terrific life. Right? I have a pretty terrific, don't you? Do you? If you're out there and you're living, look, let's be honest. There are some people who have pretty crappy lives. No matter how hard they try, they just can't get a break. There are homeless people that, for whatever reason, there are people who struggle with addiction that, for whatever reason, they keep getting just banged back into this problem, whatever the problem may be, right? We all have these things that we deal with. We all have this idea that sometimes I'm meant to have such a better life. And I'm looking at you saying I'm meant to have a way more servant life. I'm meant to have a life that is focused and consumed by other people's needs, not my own. As are you. This idea that we can be, I've really been struggling with this lately because there's been some things that have come up. Opportunities and stuff like this that have been presented to me where it's like you could really make a good. I had one guy contact me and he's like, man, he says, if you did this speaking thing, you know, you could go out and speak at all these different events and people would pay you. And I'm like, yep, you're right. But they would also want to be able to kind of possibly, how do I say this without sounding like a real D-bag? Edit what I'm saying. I had an issue a while ago where I accidentally posted a Facebook video to something that it wasn't meant to be posted to for a church that I deal with, and there was this big hoopla about it and whatever. It shouldn't have been a big hoopla about it. I was talking about the sovereignty of God, but I was telling somebody, I was like, I don't want. There's a reason that this video, that the things that I do are posted to Raise Me Up page, the God's Love Live page, the Phillipsburg Live page, Phillipsburg Live group, the God's Love Live group, the Clearfield Live group. There's a reason that this has all happened the way it is, and that I'm not posting this to a specific church's actual Facebook website, whatever. I don't want to violate the church's whatever crap they got going on. And I don't want to be beholden to any specific church, whether it's the church I attend or another church that I'm, involved with, working with, whatever. You guys, I talked about Freedom House so many times. The Freedom House Church in Osceola Mills, Pennsylvania. Great organization. Freedom House, the ministry of helping women, they're doing an amazing job there helping women. I've never asked my friend Jane, who would probably be like, yeah, let's give you access and we'll put this up on the church website. She likes all the videos. The reason I'm bringing this up is because I just saw that she liked it, as did Sister Letitia, and hello, Wyatt, if you're watching. Wyatt Bloom, I hope you don't mind me telling your last name, Wyatt. I'm sorry, I probably should have asked first. Gail, who is apparently watching. It looks like you guys are all watching. If you'd like to share something, text me. Questions, comments, you want to tell me what kind of a moron I am, whatever. But I had accidentally put this up on this church thing, and I was like, I didn't mean to do that, and I do apologize for it. And it's not because they're espousing anything that isn't, it's not because they would even try to control what I'm saying. It's, I don't want anybody to think anybody else. I am taking what I feel God has given me through Scripture and the guidance of the Holy Spirit and just knowledge of where He's working in my life, and I'm trying to share it with you. I want to be able to share it with you in a way that is completely and utterly honest to what I'm seeing. It does not mean it's always right, which is why I've said multiple times. And I'll say it again. If you hear something or see something that I'm talking about on here and you think I've just got it completely wrong, the cell phone is right here below the title or below the text. I have a pretty terrific life. The cell phone is right below that, 814-651-8865. You can text me. You can call me. You shoot me a message by email, chuckles@godslovelive.com. That cell phone is the one that sits right here on the desk next to me. And if it vibrates and I look at it, and it does all day long, but if I get a message, I look at it and it's from you, we'll talk about it right now live. And if not, we'll talk about it later tomorrow or whatever. All right, let's get this radio thing going. I don't know if you guys can hear this on the video or not. I always mute it and then I forget. That's Rend Collective, Your Royal Blood, here on God'sLoveLive.com with Chuckles this beautiful afternoon, and I'm going to pick out some random things, and we're just going to kind of hit them. Some random things about being grateful, being thankful, living a gratitude-filled life. A gratitude-filled life. Maybe we'll do Gratitude December again. I did this last year or the year before. So we're going to read Luke. I want to say, if you're watching or listening, or watching on the video or listening on the radio, we're going to begin again. We're going to read Luke chapter by chapter. We're going to start chapter 1 on December 1st, and we're going to read a chapter each day all the way through December 24th. We will finish Luke on Christmas Eve, having read the entire Gospel of Luke, from December 1st all the way to Christmas Eve, giving us a real, I hope, appreciation for the life of our Savior and all that he gave up to give us the opportunity to live in grace. So we're going to talk about some Thanksgiving verses. There's all kinds of different places you can go. You can go anywhere on the internet and just type in Thanksgiving or gratitude or whatever, and you wouldn't believe. I had one. I'd started loading it, but it didn't load. So I'm going to do something else here. Thanksgiving scripture. We'll look again. We'll try again. I wanted to bring up something and just be like, here we go. Let's talk about this. Here's one from Country Living, countryliving.com. 50 best Thanksgiving Bible verses for a day of prayer and gratitude. This is where I'm getting the scripture. I'm not going to read any of the other stuff on the article here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go down through and I'm going to talk about some of the scriptures that they have here on countryliving.com. The best Thanksgiving ideas for 2024, 50 Thanksgiving Bible verses for a day of gratitude and praise. And quite frankly, it should be a week, a year, a month, a life of gratitude and praise. I love Thanksgiving because it focuses us on that for a day. But we should use we should use that as a beginning to the new, like that should be our gratitude new year. Right? It should be our gratitude new year. Thanksgiving is going to be the day that we restart our gratitude year. We know that we should be grateful every single minute of every day, of every hour, of every week, of every month, of every year of our lives. My grandson, Merlin, had surgery a couple of weeks ago, and he wasn't feeling good afterwards, and his mom and I were talking, and we had not talked for a while, and then we started talking, and she was, hey, Merlin, here, you want to talk to Pappy? And at first he was all grumpy and he didn't want to talk. And for a minute I was like, oh no, he's mad at me because we haven't talked for a while. And he went and had this surgery and he didn't get to talk to me before the surgery. And all these things going on in my head, right? All these things just... And about a week goes by and he's feeling better. He was feeling crappy from the surgery. And I was praying the whole time. I was like, Lord, just let it be that he's feeling crappy from the surgery. And then when it's all said and done, he'll want to talk to Pappy. And then about a week and a half after his surgery, Thursday, I think it was, of last week, he calls, and I ended up on the phone with him that day for 6 hours. And then Friday, 5 or 6 hours. And Saturday, he called me at 7:30 in the morning on video chat on Facebook. And we were on video basically the entire day until like 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night, something like that. He called me earlier before this show, and I told him I was going to do this show today. I said, buddy, I need a couple hours. I'm going to go do this. I'll call you around 3:30, 4 o'clock when I'm done. And he was like, oh, but Pappy, please. And then he said, well, maybe I'll call Grammy Sue. And I said, well, you can do that if you want. You can call Grammy Sue. So he might be over there talking to my wife while they're doing what they're doing. I don't know. She didn't say anything to me yet. These things are what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful that this child wants to talk to me. Literally, he said the other night, his mom was trying to talk him into hanging up and putting his iPad on a charger so that it could be charged for the next day. And he was like, but I want to take Pappy to bed with me. And it might seem silly. Last night, Sue and I were sitting down for dinner, and I said, okay, buddy, I'm going to put the phone down, and I'm going to eat dinner and Grammy, Sue and I'll talk to you while we're eating dinner. And then about 5 minutes later, his mom says, come on, guys, dinner. And he goes and climbs up to the dinner table and sets his tablet down and points it out to mom and dad. And now we're having dinner. So last night over video, we had dinner with my daughter, her husband, and the grandchildren. And it was cool. It was amazing. It is one of those things that technology can be so great when properly, when we use it properly. I used to tell people all the time because they were like, yeah, the internet's evil. Just like they used to say, oh, TV's evil. Oh, the radio's evil. The internet's evil. The phone's evil. No, it's a matter of what you're doing with it that makes it good or bad. And that's one of the greatest things. Sometimes I ask myself, why do I bother keeping a phone? And then something like this happens, and oh, yeah, that's why. So, all right, back to the music. What's coming up next? We got Big Daddy Weave Alive coming up right now.
The best products are made with hemp.
Kristen DeMarco. That is It Is Well here on GodsLoveLive.com with Chuckles in the afternoon. What a beautiful afternoon it is. Don't mind me. I'm a bit of a wackadoodle. How's it going? We got Jeremy Camp, Marvin Sapp, and Hillsong Worship all coming up. I'm not going to keep you too long in this break. We are going to do the last break of the day. We're going to do a little bit longer one just because, we can. Right now, we are going to jump back to Rend Collective Movements coming right up. You're listening to GodsLoveLive.com. God's Love Live brings. Might get me in a little bit of trouble, but I don't care. I'm going to let you listen to it anyway. A little bit of Here I Am to Worship. Beautiful. What's today? Tuesday afternoon. I forgot. What can I say? It happens. How's it going? What are your favorite Thanksgiving traditions? Tomorrow when we wrap up our afternoon show, we're going to talk about Thanksgiving traditions. And if I get enough of them that it requires this, I will also do it on Thursday. Thursday's program, of course, I'm going to be recording tomorrow in the afternoon. And I don't know if I'll even do it. I probably won't do a video. I'll probably just do the radio show and just regurgitate the video from today or yesterday or whatever, because I want to be able to enjoy my Thanksgiving with my family. My wife would, when everything was in the house and I had a laptop that worked well, my wife was fine with me being like doing stuff in the morning, and then when they get up, I don't know that she would be fine with me leaving, because if I leave Thursday morning, if it's Thursday morning at like 9, I'm like, I'm going to go over to the office for a little bit and I'll be back and you guys can let me know I'll be back in time for Thanksgiving dinner or whatever. I'm betting I'd get in trouble. Although, by the sounds of things, with all the people coming to the house, I probably want to do that. I would probably be better off to be like, you know what? I'm going to go over to the office for a couple hours. I'll be back later. And then I could just come over here and watch football. I told a friend of mine, I'm like, we're not really big football watchers in the house. I love football. I always have. I played it when I was a kid. And I do love football. But we don't really watch football in our house. Mostly because it's hard for me to watch a sport that I love playing so much, but I can no longer play. So then I started thinking about it, and I thought, well, if we cleaned up the little bit of field here, maybe I could get a game going. I could just see that now, a bunch of old guys running around my yard throwing a football at each other. I at least 3 of us would probably end up going to the emergency room. So probably just better to enjoy a game of football. So now on Thanksgiving and Super Bowl, and my wife told me that there's going to be a football game on Christmas Day now. She told me the other day, she's like, there's going to be a football game on Christmas Day. I'm like, well, that's silly. But she wants to watch it, which we probably will. All right, listen. That's going to be it for today. If you want to see the rest, I'll probably be on video for another 15, 20 minutes. But maybe not. Maybe I'll call it a day for the video, too. At least another 5 or 10 minutes. You should go check out the video. God's Love, Facebook.com/God's Love Live 2024. Now, back to the music with Marvin Sapp coming right up. Have a great day. I'll talk to you tomorrow. And if you don't tune in tomorrow, happy Thanksgiving, and we'll talk to you after the holidays. Bringing you God's Love Live each and every day on the internet. Check out all the great resources. I thought I changed that. Oh, no, I'm looking at the wrong screen. Okay. I actually don't know. I was going to try to make a second part to this because I did record. We have 36 minutes recording. I went a little over. But I think I have to get our Sunday show done, and I have to get some stuff recorded for Thursday and Friday, because Friday I will not be in the office at all. Black Friday is one of those days where if I can help it, I try not to leave the house. Because, it's Black Friday. But I would love to know, if you're watching this and you'd like to join in the conversation, shoot me a note, text, or email. Chuckles@godslovelive.com, or you can text 814-651-8865. Tell us your favorite Thanksgiving holiday. Any holiday. You can tell me any holiday. Tell me your favorite holiday traditions. I don't care if it falls on Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Halloween, whatever. Tell us that. And there will not be a part 2. So if you're watching this video later, there is no part 2. We're actually just going to wrap it up now. Please remember, we have a pretty terrific life, especially if you live in America. So when you're thinking about what you're thankful for, think about how you should be thankful that you were born in America. And I've heard a lot of people I've heard a lot of people speak to this recent, and I heard it from both sides, by the way. I was trying to think. I was changing the pray for those in need. Yeah. Around the world. I'm just going to put all over. And what I'm going to ask you is this Thanksgiving, as you and your family are celebrating, as you're talking about what you're thankful for, remember all of those people who don't have those things you're thankful for. When I sit down on Thursday and I speak to how thankful I am to have all the people that love me around, all the people who I love there with me that day, or a lot of the people I love who will be with me that day, because my daughter's not going to be there and my other grandkids. Isabella and Leo are going to be there. Maybe even Bridget. I'm not sure. Sounds like she might have to leave early, actually, before we're eating, because we're not eating Thanksgiving dinner till like 3. I'm telling my wife that, the pie might not make it that long. Just, FYI. But this happens to me sometimes at night when we sit down at dinner. We sit down for dinner, and I'm thanking the Lord for all the blessings that I have in my life, my family, the home, a bed to sleep in, a warm house, any of that. And I'm thinking about, as I'm saying that, as I'm thanking the Lord, and I want you to do this too, if you would. As I'm thanking the Lord for all the amazing things that I have in my life, I think about those people who don't have those things. I think about those people. My son Bobby, when he was in his worst part of his struggle with his addiction, he had me. He still has me. We haven't spoken in a couple of weeks because he's mad at me, but he still has me. There are a lot of people out there who do not have a father or siblings or a mother or someone to turn to. So what I'm saying is this Thanksgiving, as you're sitting down in your beautiful homes to your wonderful dinners and getting ready to have these wonderful meals with your families, remember all of those people out there right now who don't have that, who don't have someone to turn to in times of trial, they have God, but they don't know that. This is why this is so critical to me. I see people who, they don't think they can be redeemed. They don't think there's anything redeemable about them. There's no one that loves me. I've seen people say it. I've talked to people who struggle with addiction. They say, nobody loves me anymore because I've messed it up so bad. I get to tell them that there is somebody who, no matter what, will always love you. I talked to a young man one time, and he told me, he said, while I was struggling with my addiction to all this terrible things, I was living in this terrible place, and I just knew that nobody loved me. He said, but I knew my mom did, man. I said, all right, well, let's call her. And he said she died a year ago. And now there really is nobody who loves me anymore. And that's where he was at. And he wanted to go. He was looking forward to overdosing because it gets to be over. And so I introduced him to a father who's going to love him until the end. I saw a guy today on a Facebook chat that I was on. Somebody posted about what if you don't obey God? What if you don't listen to God? What if you never follow him, give your heart to him? Does he still love you? And I thought, yeah. And then I posted. I thought, and then I posted this. And I'm gonna leave you with this for the day. And I hope that this resounds with anybody who may not know God's love. I speak about people who are Christians who've given their lives or think they've given their lives, or they think they're saved, they think they're redeemed. But what I want you to understand is that if you're not, if you've never even considered God, he loves you. If you're an atheist or someone who claims to hate God, I've heard people say, I don't believe there is a God, and if there is one, I hate him. Doesn't matter, he loves you anyway. It doesn't matter. He loves you anyway. And yes, if you spend your entire life in rebellion and disobedience, when you pass away, you will be separated from God. You will pay those eternal consequences. And the question that was posed was, since that's the case, does that mean God doesn't love you anymore? No, he mourns you when you're lost forever because he loves you. He didn't love you in the past tense. He's not going to love you if you give your heart to him. He loves you. I love my children even when they're doing bad things. And I'm evil. A good, just God loves every image he has ever created. And he offers for each to be a co-heir to Christ, a co-heir with Christ. We just choose. I heard a guy say it, and I'm telling you, this is 150 million% true. God doesn't send people to hell. He just respects their choices. You don't have to be lost. You can be redeemed to the Lord. And you can reside in his love, and you can have the peace that passes all understanding. You just got to get out your own way. Call out to him. Talk to him. Let him talk to you. Shut the hell up and listen. That's my biggest problem. Sometimes I need to shut up and listen. Call out to the Lord, because he's calling out to you. While you were doing these wicked things, I spoke to you again and again. You did not answer. I called to you, but you would not. You did not listen. I spoke to you again and again. You would not listen. I called to you, but you would not answer. Jeremiah 7:13. He is calling. Will you answer the call? That is the question of the day. Because I am filled with awe and gratitude that he's calling out to all of us. And I will be praying throughout the holiday season that whoever you are that's heard this, whoever you are that sees this video, I will be praying that you'll answer the call. The call means life gets more complicated. The call means we piss off the enemy and he might come at us. The call means we get to work. Please know that this isn't something where it's like, okay, Jesus, I want to be one of yours. And he goes, yes, my son. And you don't ever have to do anything else. Transformation is what happens. You have to answer the call to be transformed. Will you answer the call to be transformed into the image of God you're meant to be? If you will, if you'd like to, if you want to talk about it, 814-651-8865. I will drop everything I have planned today to talk to you. It doesn't matter what day you see this. Doesn't matter what time of the week it is. Doesn't matter what time. I don't care if it's 4 a.m. on a Friday morning and you're happened across this video. If you see this and you want to talk, that number, 814-651-8865. 814-651-8865. That number. Call me. And if it doesn't work, call 814-857-4901. 814. Wow. 814-857. I don't know why I thought 457. 814-857-4901. That's the number to my house. You can call there. I'll talk to you. I'd love to. It would be my great pleasure, and it would be a blessing to me if you would call. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.